Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Nublu, here in New York City. Keyboardist, bandleader, producer, and songwriter Ray Angry has really been a very, very accomplished musician for over the last decade. In fact, over the last decade, this gentleman has played and recorded and toured with the likes of Wynton Marsalis, Esperanza Spaulding, Diane Reeves, Elvis Costello, John Legend, Mark Ronson, Q-Tip, Jeff Beck, Mick Jagger, Sting, The Roots, just to name the many endless few. Now here at Nublu, every Monday night for the last 2 years, he's held an authentic as well as a very important jam session here called Producer Mondays. He invites a lot of his friends in the industry as well as invites a lot of musicians who are trying to get their feet wet in the industry to play here every Monday night. Now tonight, you're going to see highlights of not only Ray performing, but also some of the talent that comes out here for Producer Mondays. I had a chance to sit down and break bread with him to talk about his role as an accomplished music director, as well as his role as a music director, also collaborating with The Roots, who he's played with for the last couple of years, as well as sit down and talk about some of his influences and why Producer Mondays is very important, a part of giving back to the community. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of Mr. Ray Angry performing with his Council of Goldfinger live here at Nublu, here on the Pace Report, here in New York City.
When you
is a side piece, meaning that, you know, the writing part and then leading the band. And one of the things I want you to explain to my viewers is there's two things that you do. You're a music director and you're also a producer. Explain the roles of both of those positions.
Okay, so the music director, my role as musical director is to ensure that the vision of the artist and the record label is exactly what they want it to be. And there's a lot there, because my first gig as a musical director, I played on Joss Stone's record, I Love You, Joss, and Steve Greenwell and everyone over at Esperanza Records. They gave me my first shot as a music director. I played on the record, Mind, Body, and Soul with Joss Stone, and on that album was Nile Rodgers, Cindy Blackman, Jack Daly, myself, Angie Stone, and Betty Wright.
Ooh, late Betty Wright.
Oh my God, Betty was. Oh man, she was like.
And here's another thing that people are sleeping about Betty Wright. She was very dear friends with Gloria Estefan, and she was her vocal trainer. She did her vocal training.
Yeah.
Betty Wright, even though she didn't get the cred and the love that she deserved, the Roots did a fantastic record with her.
Yeah.
But I always felt that Betty Wright never got the due that she deserved.
There's a lot of artists that didn't get their just due, but she was definitely an unsung hero, and she took care of so many people. I mean, people in Miami, she took care of a whole community of people, who never would get an opportunity. She would, she had writers camps for artists down in Miami. I love her so much. I feel like as a musical director, during that period, the record label, they had a band and it was sounding like jazz and it wasn't sounding like the record. And it taught me something. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. So when a record label spends money on a record, they have a control in how that music is being presented to the audience. And sometimes that can be good and sometimes that can be bad. But in my case, it was a great opportunity because then I got firsthand, this is how you don't overplay. Because in school, everyone wants to play as many notes as possible, but when you want to be a working musician, you have to understand your role and serve the music, and you know what I mean? So anyway, so as a musical director, I just learned that role, and also as a musical director, you have to have people skills. You know how to deal with people. So I firsthand, I was so blunt that I had to learn to be, a little bit like, a little tender with it, especially when you're dealing with people with different skill sets, But I learned that lesson very quickly.
But Joss, she's an old soul anyway. Those first two records, it's like, wow, she's been here before. How did you translate the record to her on her stage presence? How did you get that out?
Well, she's very good about saying what she don't want, and so and also she's a dear friend, and we just developed a friendship over the years. But I don't know. I was, I just served the music. You know what I'm saying? And helped her tell her story. Helped her, be comfortable on stage. Because as an artist, you have to, you're a storyteller. So you have to have people around you that help you tell your story, as opposed to cats being jamming and you know what I mean, and just overplaying. So that's how I dealt with that.
Now, a producer, you have to control a lot of stuff inside the booth and inside while you're playing. What's that like?
That can be very interesting depending on who you're working with. I think as a producer, it's been great for me because I've been around so many awesome producers. So I love being in the studio, but also love creating, creating music with musicians, who have now over the years become my really good friends. So being in the studio is, for me, it's like second nature because I love creating. I love exploring sounds. I love the technology, you know, and so, you know, you have to make different choices, but also it's interesting because you have to, you know, pay attention to the message, the mix, the artists, make sure they're cool, the backgrounds, the musicians, the arrangement. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, especially if you're playing, you know, producing jazz records. If you're producing hip hop records, that's a whole different vibe, you know, because you want your beats to be banging, you know. So anyway, so I like to have a very open-minded point of view when it comes to producing, anything for that matter, because it's, you know, one size doesn't fit all. You know what I mean? So that's how I approach producing. You know, based on who I'm working with.
You graduated from Howard University, and currently Cyrus Chestnut is professor of jazz piano at your alma mater. There's two very important people that you study, and Jerry Allen is one. I've interviewed her. God rest her soul.
Yes.
And Charles Covington.
What you know about Charles Covington?
Brother, listen, man.
You know about the magic man.
Yeah.
And the chess master.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a chess master.
How did you guys, how did you come across Charles?
Man, Charles he's like my favorite uncle. You know, when I met Charles, man, he took over, I think after Jerry left, he became the my professor, and his teaching methods were so right in line with me, because everything was based off of hearing, and also building a memory, you know, because he would show me exercise and I would have to memorize the exercises. And you know, he was, I mean, I love him, man. He was a big influence on me. I mean, the fact that he could play organ, and a monster organ player and a monster piano player. So for me, that was like right in line with what I was doing, because I was playing a lot of classical piano, but then I was also playing in church. You know, I wasn't playing jazz organ, but I was definitely playing in church, and studying with him just opened everything up. Even dealing with the organ and understanding how to get different sounds out of the organ. You know?
Would it be safe to say that he helped you channel the church, your classical background with the hip hop, jazz, R&B, and
you could say that. You could say that because, you know, he was definitely a well-rounded, one of the most versatile musicians I've ever met. You know, because he does magic. He's not just in one bag. He's like, yo, you know, the world's my oyster. What are we doing today? Cool, you're gonna do chess. You know, and I love that spirit because it just makes life more enjoyable. Number one, you're not maxing out as an artist, because, you know, sometimes as an artist you can feel like, oh, people love you. You feel like, oh, I'm on top of the world. I never want to feel like that, because that's when the end is coming. When you think you're the man, because then there's someone else who's gonna come and wipe that ass. You know what I mean? Whip that ass. You know what I mean?
Now what about Jerry? Now Jerry, she's so humble and she had a beautiful spirit, and when you see her play, it's like night and day. It's like, where does she get all this, channel all this energy?
Oh man, Jerry, man, in terms of like my writing, I learned so much from Jerry, because she would talk about how she would write with, she would use a method called stream of consciousness, where she would just play and then find different ideas and motifs. Okay, then that's my song right there. Okay, cool, we develop this. So, and also her listening to her practice, was amazing. It was just like just being able to hear her practice and to experience her philosophy of music was just, it was just everything I needed at that time. Coming from Miami, Florida, coming from the church, because in Miami, I had spent my whole life playing classical music and gospel music. And I was playing jazz some, but not all the white cats were playing jazz in my school, So when I got to Howard and I saw brothers playing jazz, I was like, wait, this is actually kind of cool. This is killing, And so that's when I met Chris Dave and Kevin Williams and all these incredible, Chadwick Boseman. He was in my school when we were there in fine arts, and Jerry, man, she was everything. And it's funny because before she passed away, I didn't know she was sick. We did a gig at the Apollo together. She hired me for a gig, and it was just, I was playing organ, she was playing piano, and it was just, I don't know, man, it was just really awesome that she called me to do a gig with her, honoring women in jazz. It was just really, really cool. I loved her.
Your solo piano record blew me out of the water, man.
What?
Listen, and I say that because
you talking about the protest?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about that, because I have about maybe 3 piano solo albums that I can listen to straight, and it's really one of those things where you're shedding, you're naked, you're naked to the world. What were you thinking about that protest?
Oh man, this is deep. So this is very deep. So during that time, you have to consider COVID was at its height. I just had COVID. This is around March, June, May. I just had COVID, and I felt like I was going to die. So I fell into a really deep depression. I was just like, why am I working out? Why am I practicing? The world is over, And I just stopped doing everything and just watching the TV, every day, seeing the numbers going up, 20 million, 30, you know what I mean? It's just too much. And then one day, I was like, man, fuck this. Let me get on some music. I said, man, fuck this shit. And I literally just started working on music. Fast forward, George Floyd dies. We'd already been dealing with, in America, dealing with so many issues with so many fucked up social dynamics, with Trump, sort of like, doing what he does. And I felt like, what the fuck, and then George Floyd died, and then I was just like, why, and just seeing him
in real time,
and seeing the guy with his fucking neck on his knee on his neck,
no remorse,
and then I'm like, man, this is fucked up. And then that's when all the protests started happening. And so, mind you, during this time, I was in my house the whole time. I never left my house. Only time I left my house was to go get food, or just to be outside and get fresh air. So with that being said, I was like, fuck it, and I got on my bike and I rode my bike all the way down to Fort Greene. And as soon as I get to Fort Greene, I see a police van in flames. Fuck my head up, whoa, all these people arguing, the police there, people that, you know, fighting, and I'm seeing all of this, and man, I was like, wow, this is my first time out of the house, and this is what I'm seeing. It fucked me up, and I went back home, and I got on Instagram, and I was like, man, fuck this, and I just started playing. I
can hear it.
I just played, man. I just played everything I was feeling, like all those emotions. I just played for 30 minutes straight, and that's what you hear, and that's what the process is.
I mean, it's focused, it's intense, it's, like I said, I can't listen to too many solo piano records.
Damn, man, you messing me up now. That's amazing.
This is, it's powerful, man. I mean, and I think what you told me kind of, it puts me, because I went to the protest.
Yeah.
I went to the protest, and I was out in the streets, and I tell everybody, you know, if you don't make any voices about what's going on,
you're complacent.
You're complacent, man, and I'm glad that you put that out there. In fact, people go out, go to Amazon, go to Google Play, go to iTunes. It's on. It's the protest.
The protest.
It's serious.
Wow.
talked about Mogru, and Mogru, I think, is a cat that he and Kenny Kirkland are two cats.
Speaking my language, man.
We don't really talk about.
No, man.
But you know what? I even went in a little deeper, man. I also, and I'm just now really, I've had a lot of his music, but I'm now listening to him, dissecting him a little bit more. Art Tatum.
Come on, man.
There's a, you know, but here's the thing about Art Tatum. Everybody, all the great masters wanted to be Art Tatum. Nat King Cole, Oscar Peterson, Ray Charles. They couldn't do him.
Yeah.
What was it about Art Tatum that was like a very, very, he was like the Rolls Royces of all the piano players. What made him different from everybody else?
Man, I would imagine, first of all, I mean, let's keep it 100. I mean, he grew up in, fucking thick with racism.
Toledo.
You know what I mean? And so I would go as far to say I think music was the thing that saves us from our oppressors. So I think it just like, we came here, we had the field hollers, we had like, then that led into gospel music. And I think it just, music is a refuge. And I think him being partly blind, I just think that music probably was was his lover that was always there for him, and you know what I mean. I don't know. I just feel like that was his vibe because he was so to be that killing. You got to spend a lot of time on the piano. You're not socializing.
Yeah, his technique.
You're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not socializing, but I just feel like he was just really gifted. But I feel like the social dynamics that he had to endure was fucking rough.
And you know what's really remarkable? Norman Granz, with the technology that he had in the early 50s to document, and you're listening to what he did, and it's like,
he's genius.
How is this possible?
Yeah. Shedding.
Now, what about Mogru, man? I know he was your mentor, but what is it about his style and his unique approach to the piano that you were attracted to?
Mogru is a very lyrical player. You know what I mean? And his sense of harmony and also him as a sideman, you know what I mean? Like to me he knows how to elevate the band, you know what I mean, from the piano. And I feel like, that's an art in of itself, being a sideman, knowing when to listen, knowing when not to overplay. You know what I mean? And I also feel like Mogru didn't play from his ego. He played to serve the music. Right. And I think that's a big difference because you have a lot of cats who are ego driven and they're playing and it sounds like it, and it's in their attitude. But I feel like Mogru was so warm, which is why he was playing with Tony Williams for so long. I mean, Tony Williams is the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
And you got to keep up with him.
You got to keep up, But Mogru, man, he was just such a sweetheart, man. Even if you was sad, man, he knew how to, he knew how to encourage you to make you better. You know what I mean? And I think for me that was the beauty of Mogru. We just nurtured a friendship, and he just really pushed me. Same thing with Kenny Kirkland. I met Kenny. It's funny, man. Life is fucking funny, man. I remember when I got my first tour. I was in college my sophomore year. I dropped out of school. I got my first major gig with a pop band. It was a band called Shy, and I got a phone call. And hey man, we want you to go on the road. And I was like, okay. And I went on the road, dropped out of school, didn't tell my parents. I got to California and they had a stretch limousine for us. This was when MCA Records was around. And so we were there, and I remember we were at Sherman Oakwood Apartments. And I'm in a limo, and everyone leaves the limo. I'm like, yo, man, I need to call. There's a phone in the limo. I call my parents. Hey, Dad, I dropped out of school. I'm in LA right now. Call my dad. Well, here's how I cooled it out. I sent all my checks home. It was cool. It's okay, man. So, you want to go back, let me know. The checks was cool. Anyway, once I dropped out of school, and I was really exposed to that whole lifestyle. And then I was like, man, let me go back to school. And I went back to school and finished my bachelor's and master's degree. Then I moved to New York City. But Mogru was just very. No, I was talking about Kenny Kirkland. So when I was in California during that period, that's when Kenny Kirkland was doing the Tonight Show.
Right.
So I would hang out with Kenny and Jeff Taylor Martin.
Oh boy.
So I was a cat on tour that was finding all the jazz clubs. Even when I was in college, I was like, oh, where's the jam sessions? And I would find the jam sessions. I would be the only student, me and Chris Thede. We'd be the only cats going out to the jam sessions. So anyway, I met Kenny Kirkland, and man, I tell you, when I would hear him play, man, I would get goosebumps all over my body, man. He was swinging so hard. Him and Tank, oh my God. Anyway, Kenny, man, was such an inspiration to me because he was the first cat that in my estimation, that I saw that was so versatile, where he was playing jazz, and then he was playing pop.
Yeah,
he was really my idol.
Yeah.
For me, like everything that I'm doing, I was trying to emulate what Kenny was doing. And funny enough, I come here today from the Tonight Show.
Wow.
I'm on the Tonight Show 2 days. I've been playing with the Tonight Show since 2008 with late night Jimmy Fallon with the Roots. So I'm kind of like the fifth Beatle with the Roots. People they see me around like, who's this guy? But Jimmy Fallon, I've been knowing those guys since he first did the Tonight Show. So it's funny that now, almost several decades later, I'm playing on the Tonight Show,
right?
And also subbing on SNL. It's just
he opened up the door for you.
Yeah, man.
He passed the baton.
Man, man.
And you know what? We're talking about Mogru. I'm going to tell you too. He comes from the tree of Harold Mayburn and George Cable.
And it's funny. This is playing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mogru. Mogru he's in here floating around, man, vibing with us.
It's crazy, man. The spirits, man.
Yeah.
If you should take a journey to a place down inside, and have you ever noticed you can hear a calling to a place you can't hide? Inner communication, you have the right to grow. Look within your spirit, you got a right to grow. I have cleared your shade out of my eyes. You keep playing, watch as I take flight. I have cleared your shade out of my Have you ever noticed you can hear a calling to a place you can't hide? Within your spirit, you got a right to go.
Tell my viewers out here, every Monday night you do Producer Mondays. Tell everybody where you do it, the times, and how people can get involved.
Okay, so every Monday at Nublu, Nublu 151, which is 151 Avenue C. Every Monday, the doors are at 8, and the music starts at 9, and the music also starts at 11. And you know, it's a safe space for artists to come together and create music. No cover songs. You want to get involved? Just hit me up. Pull up and just have a good time. It's really Producer Mondays is really about having a vibe and really having a shared connection with folks where everyone goal is to uplift each other. You know what I mean? Because there's so much division in the world. So this is one of the safe spaces where artists can come together and just let their hair down and just vibe out. You know, and just create music. You know. Like we do in the studio. It's really like people are watching a studio session live. That's what it really is.
You know what I forgot to ask you? Was it Christian McBride that gave you your nickname? Now I ran into Christian a couple weeks ago, I want to get the official story of Mr. Goldfinger. I mean, how did you get that name?
It was because of a couple things. Christian solidified it. Christian, like he does everything, he put the stamp on it. Right. He put the stamp on it because I was working with this artist, and she was trying to she's trying to write a song for the James Bond estate because they're working on a new James Bond movie. And so we wrote this tune, and it was like very cinematic, and you know, and she had a connection with the estate, but nothing really happened. And then during this time, I was in California a lot because I was working with Queen Latifah. So Christian, during this time, so the first time I was working with Queen Latifah, Adam Blackstone, I think, was the musical director, and then we did another gig where it was more like her big band stuff, and Christian was the MD, and he hired me, and this is my first time working with him. Known him for years, but never really worked with him. And so when we started playing, he was like, "Man, where you been? You like a secret weapon," is what he said, you know. And so you know, and so that led into you know, me being like, oh, I was really into James Bond, you know, really into Shirley Bassey. I still, to this day, want to record a song with Shirley Bassey. I love her. She's
Britain's version of Streisand.
Yeah, right. Well said. Yeah. And I came this close to working with Barbra Streisand. Oh my God, but it didn't happen.
You still gonna have time.
Yeah.
You don't work with everybody else. That's getting ready to happen.
Yeah, man. So I'm really, but what is getting ready to happen? I'm releasing this project called Public Domain, and my writing partner, her name is Catherine. She and I have taken songs that are public domain, and I've basically reflected and rewritten. The New York Times did an article about it, about the first single, and so now I'm getting ready to release 3 new songs over the next 3 months, and I'm really excited because I have some awesome collaborations. One song I worked on is called Toyland. I have Questlove on drums. Pino Palladino is going to play bass. Black Thought is just spazzing out on the track. Liv Warfield, Marcus King. I have another record called Metamorphosis where Jay Hoard, he's like, to me, he's like the young Marvin Gaye. This dude is bad, you know, he's killing it. They have another record called Alcoholic Blues, which talks about alcohol abuse, and it's a remake of a song from, you know, the early 1900s. But the way I flipped it, you know, I had Marcus Machado playing guitar, playing this 6 solo on it, and also I'm featuring this artist named, this vocalist named Melissa McMillan. She's incredible. So those are those are some of the records that I'm about to release. I have a lot of music I'm about to release.
You know, Ray, your first album is named One, and I'm wondering, were you channeling the Bob James once before?
Yes.
Like, I kind of.
You got me.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's okay because Bob told me years ago when I did an interview with him, he said the reason why they were number albums because he didn't have a title for the albums. So it was just 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Wow, amazing. Classic.
But the music was heavy on those records.
Heavy.
Just like One, the music is heavy on your debut record.
Wow, thank you, man. And you know, honestly, man, that was doing that record, man, was the scariest thing because it was the first time that I was out there as a leader. And my man Eric Harlan, you know, Ambrose, Myron Walden, Derek Hodge, Kendra Foster, man, they just really blessed me on that record. It really took my music to a whole other stratosphere, man. I really love that band. And it's funny enough because I just hired Eric. I just scored Amy Schumer's new TV series for Life and Beth, and Eric is playing drums. Eric, Ben Williams, Sean Jones, Myron Walden. Yo, this is a crazy
Sean's
band.
gonna be in a couple weeks.
Yeah, Sean.
Next week.
Love Sean.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I have this record that I'm gonna work on. I basically flipped the Sarah Vaughan and Clifford Brown album. I rearranged all the songs on the album. So I'm gonna do that record with Jasmine and the singer named Kennedy. That's gonna be, and Sean Jones. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I got a lot of music, man. I got a lot of music coming. Jazz, hip. I'm really trying to like go, you know, Quincy with it, you know, and really hit all genres, you know, in terms of recording.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Nublu. People, if you're in New York City, please come out and support Ray Angry's Producer Mondays here at Nublu. For more information for his upcoming tour dates, club dates, as well as to get involved with the jam session here at Producer Mondays, please visit him on Instagram as well as Facebook, as well as visit him on his website, rayangrymusic.com. Also, I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Nublu for their warm hospitality. People, please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube as well as Vimeo, and leave comments as well. And visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Till next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.